My name is Cameron Blubaum, and a little over 9 years ago, I had lost my brother Zach in a tragic car accident. And though I have grown emotionally and mentally, my house and its state of clutter and scattered memories had left me with the questions that I had started this project with. Now, my family and I have dealt with tragedy, and it has changed how we had handled our things. This personally had made me an over sentimental person, giving a lot of an emotional attachment to items that we had owned, but yet were not of use in our household. Now, this had led to a big topic of conflict and stress within our household, being very emotionally charged to things that would not usually give someone riled up. This was part of our seeking comfort to fill that void that we know is endless. This decision making has almost made it impossible for us to part with these possessions, especially the ones that Zach had. This led to grief. This grief had led every single photo opportunity and items to be more meaningful than the last. And this story might be similar to yours, whether you are very familiar with losing a loved one or not. See, our possessions can tell stories and connect us deeper to the memories that we share. Though most possessions might not mean anything to us by itself, how can we separate this? Is there a way out? This is a gray area. When it comes to decision making, people will give a lot of these items a higher perceived value than they actually have. This is in question our relationship with our possessions. Imagine with me, you start off with one box as you go through this process, going into three. And then you have so many items that these items start to continue on where they're not even a part of that emotional attachment anymore. And now you give it emotional attachment because it's tied to the other things. And then soon enough, you have your basement and your attic completely filled. You start to realize that this becomes a problem. I can't be the only one that's experienced this, right? Hello, my name is Cameron Blubaum, and this is Project ADDIC. And today I will be going through the 5 touch points through my project. First being analytical research, then active research, design thinking, solution ideation, and then finally the final design. First, going off an analytical and descriptive research, I started off this project with one simple thing in mind. How could we make memories even better to display and unclutterable? And what I mean by that is we started untangling this thread that first led me to this first mind map all the way to this whole garage door being filled. This led me to hoarding disorder. Hoarding disorder is a persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions because of perceived need to save them. A person with hoarding disorder experiences stress at the thought of getting rid of the items. Excessive accumulation of items, regardless of actual value, occurs. Now, let's define what hoarding disorder is. And see, if you see on the right, you'll see something a little bit more familiar with what you might used to know what hoarding disorder is. But really, I grew up something that's more similar to something on the bottom, not just a place where you can't get through the items and through the things of your home, but a place that looks, well, in our words, cozy. But at the time, we did not realize that it was actually hoarding. Now, let me make the important distinction between collecting and hoarding. They're very different. Collecting is a healthy habit of collecting items in order to sell the items later on. Intention of organization and love of collecting them and enjoying it. While hoarding is the opposite of the spectrum. They hoard the items and not place to sell them, but to keep them. And they have a horrible time organizing them, and they do not enjoy what they are doing. This led me to the research of cognitive behavioral therapy. In terms of cognitive distortions, things like feeling a need to save items and being upset by the thought of discarding them, as well as having a tendency toward indecisiveness, perfectionism, avoidance, procrastination, and problems with planning and organizing. See, 19 million people are directly affected in the US alone. And again, this is just people that admit it or self aware that they are a hoarder. Also, we want to think about the families that are affected from hoarding disorder. Also, people will say that it is a female issue, but male and female alike, they both struggle with hoarding disorder. So, what are the causes? See, there was not a clear cause to disorder, being a fairly recent disorder in the books. The top three proposed causes were tragedy and loss, childhood experience, and shared genetics, which is other underlying disorders. First, being very personal to me, is grief, loss, and tragedy. Second would be childhood experiences like negligence and abuse. This coming into trauma, which hoarding difficulties typically start around the ages of 10 to 13 years old and are carried into their upper 30s if not dealt with. Then there's the shared genetics, underlying disorders. See, hoarding disorder used to be a subset of OCD. And then also under disorders, including that, would be ADHD, depression, and anxiety. Others would be perfectionism, worrying, and difficult feelings, and etc. So why is this a problem? See, it's not just on the TV where hoarders buried alive aren't the only extreme, but also the people that can walk through their house and normal people like you and me. This can be a very serious issue, especially when it comes to our relationship with friends and family. It can be a topic of conflict and one that causes high levels of stress. It can create unhealthy environments and leave you not willing to grow or move on. It will wound your decision-making skills and make it hard to organize. And in my own experience, it leaves me unable to enjoy my home, invite people over, and do the things that I enjoy. Going on to active research. This where's my survey come into mind. I created this survey, not understanding how many people would actually take the survey, but I asked people very vulnerable questions if they were willing to share if they lost people close to their life. This person was close to their life if they were a family member. And as you see here, 154 people out of 160 responded, 90% said yes. And then 94% said yes, that the person was a family member. See, on the top right, there's a couple people that had additional messages into their situation. It's like I can't get rid of something that is 100% mine. It is definitely a balancing act. Or someone else said, I don't want to throw something away that brings back the memory. And on the bottom right, you'll see that in this question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard did it go through your lost loved ones' items? 52.9% said 7 or above in the pain level. See, I not only got my questions that I wanted people to answer, but also additional messages to leave down below. And these are what I got. Here's to highlight a few things that people had realized, as in kids do not want to keep all of our stuff, or they almost feel that it's disrespectful, or they'll regret getting rid of an item. Someone also said that they wanted to live in the present, and that's exactly what I want to do for them. Also, people talked about things that helped them to get through this process. Some said that it makes them feel better knowing that their daughter's clothing has gone to help someone clothe the less fortunate. Also, someone said that working out and physical release was a good thing for them to move on. Also, people had touched on keepsakes, and we'll get to that later. Now, treatments. I wanted to take off to the treatments because this is a very heavy disorder to deal with. Decluttering methods such as a KonMari method, as well as CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. And the biggest part of it is admitting that you need help and changing how you think about yourself and your possessions. Now, you might be wondering, Cameron, I don't actually have hoarding disorder, or I don't deal with it. So how is this involved with me? Well, see, many people at least know somebody in their life that is struggling through this disorder. So how can you help? Again, facing that stigma that hoarders are at fault. Not for entertainment like the TV show, and you cannot force someone to clean or think a certain way as well as doing that work for them. They must learn what best method fits them. And also, we want to celebrate success, respect their decisions, challenge them. Do not force them. This goes into my market research, some including physical organization, digital organization, both temporary and permanent solutions. Now, I wanted to reach out to industry experts to be able to understand more of this issue and how to work through them. I contacted many decluttering experts and people that were good on psychological effects. And this is what the general empathy map came out to be. Highlighting a few is people that say, I do not know where to start, or I would rather donate to charity, talking about goodwill. And then the biggest one of all is that one size does not fit all, and that there is no right way of organizing declutter. Also, it does not take long to declutter, and taking items out of context is very good when it comes to decision making. Also, we want to treat the clients with respect and establish trust. Let me be the first to introduce you to my user personas. First, starting off with Maxine. See, Maxine is a mother of 4 children. She likes a slower paced life and enjoys times with friends and family, and loves hosting for many gatherings, whether that's cooking in the kitchen or having conversations in the dining room. See, Maxine's mother had passed away when she was at the age of 11, and it seemed that her siblings and herself had to fend for themselves. And later on in life, when her mother-in-law became severely ill, organization pretty much went out the window. Then there's Stephanie. Stephanie had lived in a disorganized space all her life in a hoarding household, and she wants to grow up and lead a new life and organized for her and her family. Spend more time with their daughter and be more confident in decision making. Then there's Rob and Cindy. They have already gone through the program for 2 years, but they want to continue maintaining the tidiness. They want to continue to help and give back without stretching their limited mobility in their old age. See, this is where I ran into the issue of trying to create a product and realized, back to my empathy map, that one size does not fit all, that products are helpful but not ideal. This is why the DIY market is so huge, because not everyone has the same needs or the same house. This is why I created a service. This led me into my design thinking phase, where I wanted to capture the essence and the methodology of teaching a man to fish. That old Chinese proverb saying, teaching a man to fish, he'll have food for the rest of his life. But if you give a man a fish for one day, he only eats for one day. This also led me into my competitive sense. See, after I wanted to do a service, I looked at many different services that were offered in Columbus that led me to decluttering. See, the one that I wanted to direct your attention to the most was the bottom left, where it was an all-in-one service for people to start and have many and different variety of services. This gave me my 6 design guideline, First, providing an incentive to use a product, making it simplistic, shedding a light on hoarding disorder, and having it set on the customer's own pace. Again, to be challenging and not forceful. I also don't want this to be another dead space storage solution. This had helped me define down to my how might we statements. How might we make it easier for people to chunk down decluttering, display and enjoy items and do things that they love, give an incentive of motivation, create a daily habit of tidying and maintaining, create more ways to get things out of the home instead of inside of the home, create an easily shoppable, which is simple, more friction to buy things and less friction to clean them. Here is where I would love to introduce you to my project solution. Out of the Attic, an all-in-one decluttering service for people that have hoarding disorders. And why is the right solution? Because again, going back, that the product would never satisfy the behavior and the mindset of the client. It would only continue them to feel forced to do something in organizing. This in giving a service would help them find what they best prefer, but also help them change their mindset and challenge them. Again, going back to my competitive sets, all of these people have really good business models, but it was lacking the biggest thing, and that's the why statement. The why statement I wanted to be is something that I wanted to bring back to me and my family, but also to give some meaning to other people and a place for other people to start. See, this is my mission statement for Out of the Attic. We redefine how people process grief through the physical release of trauma, taking people who feel lost and unsure of what to do, held captive by their pain, to actively on a journey toward healing. We help people take their lives back. Our story is your story. We want people to come alongside you, not just as professionals, but people who want to hear and highlight your story, to give relief, meaning, and instead of wanting to live, we want you to be free to become the subject of your life. We want to start finding the beauty in the ashes. Let's start actually doing that together. Now, for someone that would go through Out of the Attic, I wanted to create a place where it would help people start, those experiencing struggles with hoarding disorder, declutter and maintain tidiness, develop good habits and have a sense of control, to have the desire to lead a new life and enjoy life, visual to break things into manageable tasks, a service to give organization meaning, and systems to allow the release of trauma through physical and mental activities. And examples of some, like balloon launches to give the act of letting go, or what we have experienced as a family called Letters to Heaven. And then on the right, you see a more fun option, taking all your school papers from college and high school and beyond, to burning them and making a really cool art piece and creating a memory within those memories. And then one you might be more familiar with is Carl Fredrickson from Up, enabling him to move up from the ground and move on. He must get rid of his items that are in his house, his physical needs. And though he never forgets Ellie and all the stuff that are in the adventure book, it helps him leave and move on, but also to help Russell. This goes into my solution ideation. Starting off with my branding mood board, a place that seems celebratory, light, and also showing that we want to do this together. And being able to free up people and help them move on. As you see here, this is my branding. Again, important things like the shape of the logo, which is in a balloon, referring back to the symbolism of the balloon in the balloon launch. Again, giving that letting go the meaning that it deserves. Also, the 4 services that we'll see here later on of our company that gives an all-in-one access to help people start. I made 4 different branding touchpoints that would help a user go through and learn more about Out of the Attic. First and foremost would be the website that I created. Then word of mouth, which people and their testimonials that have already gone through this service. And then kiosk and pop-ups, which would be in malls and different places around town. And then the Out of the Attic community app for people to give a Pinterest-like experience to give inspiration and accountability to others. Now, if you want to join me in seeing my Out of the Attic website, you can scan this QR code and you'll see where it takes you to this front page. In doing that, you'll see a schedule a consultation button. If you want to, when you press that, this is what it will kind of look like in order to get to your next meeting and response to an Out of the Attic expert and professional that will soon become one of your best friends. And showing that new best friend, we will give them information on the About Us page, introducing the company's core team, which is mostly administrative responsibilities, and the founders. And then the field of the design team, which is a more personal and people that you'll be more likely to be working up close with. This is ensuring to build trust with our clients and being able to tell their story from their perspective, similar to your barber. Now, I'm really excited to show you my final design, which included the service design, sketching, and renders. First, I wanted to introduce you to the 4 pillars that would make up Out of the Attic. First being declutter and release, lifestyle training, maintaining tidiness, and product care. Let's get into it, shall we? First is declutter and release overview. First being donation, which we'll get into here in a second. Buy Nothing project. Again, I have another page that I'll be showing you in a second. And then dump, which be trash removal and dumpster rentals. Moving, if someone needs help moving out and help assessing items. And then also within those assessing items, auctions and sales if you believe you have something treasurable and valuable in your stash of things to make a little bit of a buck or two. First, starting off, I realized from the start that donation had a room for innovations and improvements. First being, as you see on the right, companies, employees, and volunteers have to assess all these donations after they end up in these piles. And unfortunately, the sad reality, a lot of them get thrown away because of the instructions that were not followed by the people that were donating them. Also, these donation boxes can kind of look like a trash can, and I didn't want people to get confused with the brand with trash. I wanted it to be shown that it's more meaningful than just throwing it away. Also, there should be smaller openings so people don't try to climb in. And yes, people have actually done this. Then there's a disconnect from the impact that it's making. A lot of people from, at least from my home state, had looked at Goodwill as not as a charity, but profiting out of this for their own good. See, Goodwill is a charity and offering up training and jobs for people that might have trouble, like people with autism. And this is their charity of giving back. This is an act of making letting go meaningful, fun, and interactive. So how do we do that? This is the inspiration board for interactive and approachable design for donation. Again, I wanted to make this to have a warm and approachable feel by using the Scandinavian style architecture and able to bring users in and people that are willing to donate to give a more approachable design and emphasis. Again, not making this look like a trash can, but a place where people can assess items, making it more organized, and also making it more fun and tied to the branding of the Out of the Attic. Here is the at the store render. This would be at an out of the attic store, being able to be more approachable with also the access of showing the impact that you'd be able to make on charities and what it does for it. And you can also learn about more about our services and a kiosk able to help you sign up for what you need. And then the around town donation boxes. I wanted these to feel very similar and something that would be very easy to assess items and help you actually practice decluttering and organizing. This also makes it easier for people not being able to climb in, as the openings are smaller and the piles would be less. Then I want to introduce you today I want to show you more about what Buy Nothing Project is. Now, I stumbled on this when I was going through my capstone progress, and a lot of the people that were the declutter experts in the industry had very highly suggested this. This is a service where people and their neighboring neighbors would ask for a need, and person that is trying to get rid of stuff would help fulfill their need. So one in getting rid of clutter, and the other having something that they actually need. Their Buy Nothing Project's slogan is buy less and share more. It makes us all richer and the planet cleaner. Then there's lifestyle training overview. Lifestyle coaches, therapy, and checkups. All of this is mindset management. This is the backbone of Out of the Attic. This would be where we would start that relationship with their clients, enabling them to start dreaming of what their house and their life could look like without their clutter and the stress. This is a very important due to all the causes that lead people to hoarding disorder, and able to rewire their brains and help them move on. Next is maintaining tidiness in the overview. First being the Active Addicts Kit and Out of the Attic Community app, which I will highlight here soon. And then there's visual decluttering instruction PDFs, which be an instruction guide for people to have flowcharts and other scheduling to help people clutter or declutter their clutter. And then organization products and skill training like Skillshare courses. Again, let me introduce you to a very exciting part of my project, which is Active Addicts. This is a design consultancy service that is connected to Out of the Attic services. I wanted to create a space that is made for living. Also, that it's ran through personally through you, making sure that it helps you and not just something that helps a bunch of people, but something that specifically helps you and what you need. This would be by you and for you. Going through the sketching step with the designer, the prototyping step with the designer, and then finally getting a war wall, which is part of the Active Addicts kit. This is what a gold member's out of the attic Active Addicts final concept sketch might look like. And if we move forward, you see that it will contain active space, which is getting rid of those storage bins and making a top of mind and relevant place where it keeps track of what becomes less useful and more useful to the user over time. See, a quote that I want to put in all of this is that the essence of enjoying something is using it. Also, there's a plan and attack phase where the importance of placing items out of context is very key and able to help you be less overwhelmed and help you make better decisions in donating, keeping, or selling the items. Now, this is giving an action its own office. A place where kids and adults can schedule and refer back to their to-do list and practice life skills like cleaning, tidying, and time management. Now, let's walk in through the space, shall we? This is the final render of something a gold member might have in their house. This is very similar to a home maintenance room. As you can tell, the laundry on the right, it can be paired up with many places like your kitchen or close to your pantry or your laundry room. There will be a mail sorting area to help you assess those papers and those important bills and files. And then on the right, you'll see a to-do list for everyday tasks for you and your family to continue to roll down and replace and throw away after being done, giving that satisfaction feel of accomplishment. And then the 3-box system, a very important part of active addicts. The donate, the sell, and the keep boxes included in the trash and recycling bin. These will help you assess your items in the same place that you see whether they spark joy or if they don't. I also wanted to include a community app helping people get inspiration like Pinterest inspiration boards, and also a place to tie in the Buy Nothing groups and able to create a community that helps and shares with each other. This leads me to my last and final service for Out of the Attic, which is product care. And that includes product restoration, product repurposing, and house cleaning. If you need your house to be clean, if it's dirty and needs some TLC. I wanted to highlight product repurposing and the market of repurposing, including keepsakes from loved ones and their items that they might have left when they have passed, like a t-shirt quilt to a blanket to a pillow, and then also one that is very personal to me and my family is this keychain that has my brother's fingerprint on it and my mom wears every day. Then also other things like heirlooms, like trunks, could be restored. I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to create a better place for people to start, especially like people like us that did not know where to start and how to know which services that we needed. So I wanted to make this an easy packaged up, and this led me to my bronze, silver, and gold ladder packages. The bronze would be for those who had high confidence in their abilities, who just needed a push start to get started. And then there's a silver ladder package for those with more that they can manage, who need an extra helping hand in their journey, whether that is donation pickups or check-ins on maintaining tidiness. And then finally, our gold ladder package would be for those who had a high volume of clutter, or those who needed to be guided step by step through the process. Let's reintroduce our user personas. The first would be Stephanie. Again, a new mother that is looking to lead a new life from her hoarding tendencies that she had grown up in. And her goals is to create a new organized life for her and herself and her family. Be more confident in decision-making skills, declutter unwanted items, and help her and her mom restore their relationship from hoarding and decluttering purposes and circumstances. One of her main pain points is worrying about her and her daughter's future. And when she tries decluttering, she hates when things go to waste and knows that it's still functional. This is the bronze ladder package. Lifestyle coaching with a personal trainer being the first and the foremost things in order to get you connected with that person and start building trust. Then your war wall, which is one of many aspects of active addicts, PDF files for maintaining tidiness like a flowchart, one free checkup with lifestyle coach after sessions have completed, and then both out of the attic community app and around town donation boxes are access to everyone. Next would be the Silver Ladder package, which is Rob and Cindy. And again, they're helping people to those who are grieving lost loved ones and want to be an encouragement to others by sharing their journey. But also their pain points is that they have no access to resources, donation, and ways to give back within their limited mobility. And they still want to continue maintaining tidiness. In doing so, they will have everything that the Bronze Ladder package has, but they also have an extra free checkup, and then they'll have that 3-cart system that we talked about, which is another part of Active Addicts. And then they'll have trash removal and donation pickups for when they cannot leave their household. Then lastly is Maxine, who is a hoarder and is struggling with many items and wants to display and host. But she has the Gold Ladder package because she is frustrated with many things and she has a harder time being able to assess everything within her need. Now, what Maxine would receive is everything that we had seen from the Bronze and Silver package, but also an unlimited to a limited amount of checkups with her lifestyle coach, creating again that more intimate bond that might be even a permanent lifetime thing. To the full Active Attic design consultancy service, again, those renders that we saw before would be something similar to what we would see at a Gold Ladder package. This is a home maintenance room. Also, we don't want to stop there. We wanted to give them a premium membership to give them step-by-step tutorials to help them declutter and release items. I did not want to stop even from there. I wanted to make sure that this business would be able to hit the ground running. And in doing so, I wanted to start off with lifestyle training in the first year to give again that backbone of the company to start that relationship and that trust, and also to continually to make ideas for donations and help people with charities. Third year, you would see that donation and ways to get things out of the house would be fully in place and intact, creating a new process of finding a way to start implementing Active Attic. In fifth year, we would see the company fully fledged out and totally running at capacity, full capacity. Now I've given you guys an opportunity to get out of the attic, get out of the basement, and to get your life back. I want you to tell your story and connect with those who has experienced similar loss and grief. Thank you guys so much for listening.